Picture a fuel depot in an ordinary parking lot. Beneath the concrete sits a steel tank holding thousands of gallons of highly volatile gasoline. Now, imagine a valve controlling that massive underground tank was left sticking out into the street. It's not locked or fenced off. There's just a piece of paper taped over it, reading, "Please don't touch." Leaving a physical valve unguarded in this way is a clear act of dangerous negligence. This exact situation is currently unfolding across the country, where digital connections to fuel systems sit entirely exposed on the public internet. On June 2, 2026, 8 U.S. agencies, including CISA and the FBI, issued a joint urgent warning. They reported that attackers are actively reaching into internet-exposed automatic tank gauges, or ATGs, at gas stations and fuel depots. Once inside, these hackers are executing remote commands to falsify fuel readings and are actively switching off the alarms designed to detect leaks. By typing commands into a remote interface, an attacker turns a digital vulnerability into a severe environmental and physical threat. Every underground fuel tank uses an automatic tank gauge to measure liquid levels and detect problems. It serves as a combination dipstick and smoke detector. An ATG is a monitoring tool. It cannot open a physical valve or directly cause a leak on its own. This diagram shows the denial of view exploit. An attacker intercepts the data link. While the operator's screen falsely reports a safe status, fuel actively leaks into the soil. Blinding the monitor turns a small failure into a massive hazard. While the federal advisory lacks a formal attribution, multiple reports, including from CNN, indicate these probes trace back to threat actors linked to Iran. Compromising a simple text protocol successfully neutralizes the fail-safes of critical physical infrastructure. The 2026 federal warning addresses a vulnerability that the security community documented 11 years earlier. In 2015, researchers at the Black Hat Conference proved that thousands of these fuel gauges were already exposed and being probed by attackers. The entry methods are often trivial, involving default passwords or interfaces requiring no authentication at all. Despite a decade of warnings, recent scan data shows roughly 900 of these gauges still sit entirely open on the U.S. public internet. Why does an infrastructure flaw solved by researchers in 2015 still require an emergency federal intervention in 2026? Operational technology was originally designed for physically guarded, closed networks where baseline trust was assumed. The current crisis stems from connecting these legacy devices directly to the public internet for the sake of remote convenience. These devices often fall into a systemic ownership gap. IT departments view the gauge as an operational tool, while operations assumes the network connection is an IT problem, installed by a contractor, networked by a forgotten vendor, and left off the org chart. Threat actors specifically hunt in this bureaucratic gap, scanning for the devices that lack a dedicated owner. A forgotten legacy box humming in a corner is a far more dangerous attack surface than a modern software stack. Federal agencies are directing organizations to immediately inventory their exposed hardware and remove these gauges from the public internet. Security requires eliminating default credentials and locking down serial ports with basic authentication or VPNs. Lasting resilience requires locating every forgotten box and ensuring every single device has a named human owner.